President Trump revealing in a leaked message to the Norwegian Prime Minister that there may be a personal reason for his escalating attempts to acquire Greenland.
The president apparently writing in that message to the Prime Minister, quote, "Considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel any obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America." He went on to again question Denmark's claim to the island and blasted NATO, writing, "I've done more for NATO than any other person since its founding, and now NATO should do something for the United States. The world is not secure unless we have complete and total control of Greenland." The Prime Minister was quick to point out that he has explained to Trump multiple times it's the independent Nobel Committee that awards the Peace Prize, not the Norwegian government.
Now, that letter comes as Greenlanders staged the biggest protests in recent months against a U.S. takeover. Several European allies have also sent military forces to the island. Over on this side of the pond, the letter sparked a wave of outrage from President Trump's critics. Former Rep. Adam Kinzinger writing on X, "Guys, Republicans, it's time to move Gramps into a home. Let's adults govern again." Author Shannon Watts echoing that, writing, "This is what the 25th Amendment is for." And while New Jersey Senator Andy Kim acknowledged the, quote, unhinged and embarrassing nature of the letter, he went on to warn Trump is doing lasting damage to our global position, which will harm our ability to keep America safe, secure, and prosperous.
As for the European Union, they're reportedly considering the implementation of what they call a trade bazooka to deter Trump from pursuing Greenland. The bazooka is a set of policies designed to deter bullying from major trade partners like the U.S. or China. It would allow the EU to curb the imports of goods into its market and put restrictions on foreign investment and also intellectual property rights. That could have a significant impact on the U.S. as trade between the U.S. and the Union account for almost 30% of global trade in 2024, nearly $2 trillion in total.
I was laughing so hard at the memes that came out of this weekend when people were laughing about what it means that he's gotten the Nobel Peace Prize hanging up in his office. They said it's like people dropping off their Grammys at the White House or their Stanley Cup or other awards saying, well, we gave it to you. And the Nobel Peace Organization is like, no, not acknowledging that. It's still Machado is not yours. So that is just its own thing. And he's obsessed with this award. And to tell a whole entire country's leadership that you are now penalizing them for a decision that a private committee made that they did not make because you still want an award is top level. I mean, even for President Trump, that's top level pettiness. Yep. I don't like that. That's where we're coming from with an ally. And the way that we've historically in this last year treated people that are our allies, Canada, saying we wanted them to be the 51st state, antagonizing them, now Greenland, and antagonizing them over what stemmed from a Nobel Peace Award. I mean, that's not something that you want to do to your allies, so much that we have European leadership sending over military troops, boots on the ground and camouflage in Greenland to show a force against the U.S. So now we're fighting with our European allies, like in theory. It just doesn't look good or feel good.
Yeah. Look, I think viewers know that, I am the last person to have a kind of Trump derangement syndrome or to think he's crazy or senile. I think that's all nuts and not helpful at all. And I defend the president when I agree with him, and often I do, and particularly on foreign policy, I agree with him. So all that said, I don't get this at all. It's first of all, the decisions about Greenland should not be based on his personal sense of offendedness that Norway did not give him a prize, that in the first place they have no ability to independently award him because it's not the government. A. B, again, he's saying, well, now I'm going to think just in U.S. interests. So you weren't thinking in U.S. interests before. You were thinking about whether it would be nice to have an award. This does not reassure me as someone who would like to be in support of your foreign policy that decisions are being made for the right reasons. I think Greenland, I want to have stronger relations with Greenland. I think if Greenland wanted to be part of the U.S., we would welcome it. I think I agree with Trump in some narrow sense that Denmark has no automatic claim to the land. If the people of Greenland want to be either independent or part of the U.S., then that should happen. But from what I can tell from the referendums done, they do not want to be part of the U.S.
And the protests.
So, well, the protesters could be not representative of public opinion. But what I understand from public opinion is they don't want to be part of the U.S. We can continue to negotiate and discuss in good faith. We should do that in ways to strengthen our trading relations with Greenland and with the European Union, with NATO and with Europe. And I am fine to use the threat to get them to give us more favorable terms. I've supported, for instance, J.D. Vance complaining about the German authorities and the British authorities and the European Union writ large about their tech policies, which are so unfriendly to our companies. And don't do that. You want us to give you money for defense, and you're gonna fine our companies for free speech violations that we don't recognize, because the way we do things in America is we allow free speech. I'm happy to have all those battles. I don't see how we can, but this is embarrassing, and this undermines our position to say that this land should be ours because we've just decided it.
And also,
it's getting us into very difficult,
murky waters. Yes. And I think, when the president's throwing things around like, I'm going to offer $1,000 a person or some money offering to citizens there to see if they want to override the government, I think that we're creating chaos for no reason, even so much that J.D. Vance and the president met with leadership from Denmark, and they left the meeting on the Denmark side saying, yes, we've opened some options on the table to think about how we can find a solution for this. Mm-hmm. So basically saying we didn't come to an agreement, but we're going to keep talking. And Trump's administration left the meeting and said, we're in technical talks, this is a quote, of acquisition of Greenland. So they're like, what are we talking about? We didn't say that you're in technical talks to acquire us. It's just confusing. And we also already have an agreement with Greenland that we can put boots on the ground. I know Amber was arguing that some of the facilities over there that are the U.S. bases are getting a little bit decrepit. And so that's part of the concern of President Trump, that they won't be as effective. Well, we can put money and time and effort and resources and people there to fix
and that would all be a good idea.
Facilities.
That would be
but we don't have to own the place.
It shouldn't fall to China. Right. We should have a good relationship with it. And frankly, if we did own the place, it would be a problem because of our protectionist Jones Act, which screws over Puerto Rico. We have this ridiculous law from the 1920s that it was to protect the domestic shipbuilding industry, that internally to the U.S., it affects what areas of the U.S. they can stop in, and it makes U.S. to U.S. Shipping much more expensive. So ironically, it would be harder for Greenland to ship to the U.S. if it was technically part of the country.
Really?
So
it's even going to cost us more money.
No, it would cost them more money. It would ruin them.
Okay.
We would have to.
Economy.
We should. To be clear, we should abolish the Jones Act. Every time Puerto Rico has a natural disaster, they suspend enforcement of it. But we should just not do it.
Get rid of it. Okay, well, I learned something new today. I didn't know about this Jones Act.
It's a real bad one. Up next, Bill Maher blasted the Golden Globes for not nominating Joe Rogan in the Best Podcast category. Don't go anywhere.